Officers are still here taking a look around. I've been watching them this afternoon and today. Search specifically in these top two apartments here. They've been looking all through there, taking pictures across the parking lot. Look at how strong these winds had to be to uproot this tree here. And there are trees down all over town.
Absolutely. The two big things that they really focused on was coverage of pre-existing conditions and the cost of health care. Holly says that patients with chronic illnesses like his son are being held hostage by Obamacare.
The trail is supposed to connect these East Columbia neighborhoods all the way to the edge of MU's campus and Rollins Street. But a wildlife protection group bought up all of this area here, making this land now a legal battleground. Today is the first day that Chiefs fans are going to get a look at this new team. Right now here in St. Joe, they are evaluating the field, and as they do daily, but we saw just a little bit of rain here today. Emily, these documents came into our newsroom just a few hours ago. Before breaking down some of the details, we'd like to issue this warning. You may find some of the specifics of this case disturbing. People who want the fuel tax increased are using this new study to pave the way for more support. Prop D would fund road and highway repairs with the additional money. Supporters say a few cents a month will save you hundreds over a year. A trip to the repair shop can be pricey.
You're probably looking at a $200 a piece tire, and that's for starters.
Mutrux's repair shop sees plenty of cars that have taken a beating.
The low-profile tires cannot take potholes. There's too many times that it'll pinch a sidewall or damage a wheel.
Now we're talking just about the sidewall of a tire here. It's just really a small piece of rubber, but if it gets pinched on some rough roads or a pothole, you're in for some big expenses.
This is essentially the cost of rough roads beating up your vehicles.
CAROLYN Kelly is one of the authors of a study that says Missouri drivers pay up to $1,500 a year in repairs and gas driving on rough and busy roads.
The state's roads are becoming increasingly deteriorated and congested, and they have a high fatality rate.
Supporters of Prop D say the study shows why drivers should vote yes.
2.5 cents a year over 4 years for 10 cents. That's $60 a year for the average driver. Would I spend $60 to save $1,500? Sounds like a pretty good deal to me.
Mutrux says he might pump the brakes on that high of an estimate.
It came to $1,000 per vehicle per year, I would be surprised.
The study used data from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Highway Safety Administration. The fuel tax will be on the ballot November 6th. Representative Love's hearing focused on his comment that Confederate statue vandals should be hung from a tall tree with a long rope. I was at the Capitol today where discussion got heated over his intent while considering his influence as a lawmaker.
Since we're here in front of God and everybody, let me tell you what I almost posted.
You also could have said, like, arrested and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law.
And that's what I meant.
But those aren't the words that you use.
You know, sometimes when you make a point, you want to get an expression apart.
Representative Love's ethics hearing was a war over words.
Are you referring to your colleagues that made comments about your statements?
Yes, ma'am.
That some of them are going to get shot?
Anyone? No. Ma'am. Hold it.
Committee members tried to determine if what he posted was worthy of disciplinary action.
Many African Americans across the state would be offended by your comments based on a historical nature of what you were talking about. Would you at least acknowledge that?
And you used a phrase that I'm sure you probably used it before with not a thought about being racist in it. You used it that they would receive the full extent of the law. Is that correct?
But the 3 hours of back and forth resulted in nothing. While the committee voted to reprimand Love derailed the action simply by saying he did not accept the finding. A procedural quirk requires consent from the respondent.
You do not believe you deserve any punishment for what you've done wrong. Is that what I'm hearing here today?
That would be correct.
Moving forward, the committee will send a report to the House Speaker within 45 days. Speaker Todd Richardson will then decide if any further action is necessary. In the studio, Savannah Rudicel, KOMU 8 News. Republicans are publicly accusing McCaskill of using her seat in the Senate for personal financial gain. Take a listen.
McCaskill votes for subsidies. Her husband receives them. They both get rich, and you pay for it.
The ad cites an article that appeared in the Kansas City Star in July. The National Republican Senatorial Committee selectively pulled information from the article without providing any context. The ad fails to mention what is actually being subsidized. McCaskill's husband, Joseph Shepard, invests in companies that provide low-income housing. Those companies receive subsidies, which are used to give incentives to landlords to provide affordable housing for low-income, elderly, and disabled tenants. Shepherd is a limited partner in the ownership companies and receives a share of the total profits. Law prevents Shepherd and other investors from having any say in day-to-day operations or how government money is used. Knowing that, we can address the specific claims made in the ad.
The year before Claire McCaskill joined the Senate, her husband's company paid them less than $17,000. Now, up to $1 million per year.
This claim is incomplete. The figure was pulled from the senator's personal finance disclosure forms. Members of Congress report income only in a broad range of amounts, not exact amounts. The range Shepherd's profits fall in is anywhere from $365,000 to just over $1 million. The NRSC focuses on the highest possible estimate.
Her husband's companies received $131 million in federal subsidies.
This claim needs context. According to the Star, those companies received $62 million during McCaskill's first term and $69 million in her second. However, those millions do not go directly into Shepherd's pocket. Shepherd is a limited partner who receives a share of the profits. FactCheck.org confirmed the vast majority of the money goes to operating costs for government-subsidized housing projects. And remember, Shepherd isn't allowed any say in how the government money is used.
McCaskill votes for subsidies. Her husband receives them. They both get rich, and you pay for it.
This claim is mostly false. McCaskill does not sit on committees that allocate funds or government contracts. The Senate Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs is partially in control of awarding government contracts. That committee is made up of 13 Republicans and 12 Democrats. Shepherd's businesses received bipartisan support. Meanwhile, McCaskill votes on big-picture budget and appropriation bills. The Star says the senator's voting record is mixed. She's voted for bills that would benefit affordable housing programs and against others.
Claire McCaskill, a corrupt Washington subsidy Missouri can't afford.
These numbers are real, but the implication that Shepherd is pocketing money at the taxpayer's expense is false. The Associated Press, FactCheck.org, and the Star article all show there is no evidence McCaskill directs federal funds to businesses connected to her husband. McCaskill's campaign team responded to the ad with their own fact check, saying the claims are dead wrong. The Hawley campaign says she should, quote, release her family's tax returns so we can know the truth. For this Target 8 fact check, I'm Savannah Rudicel. It's the Saturday before Christmas and the day before Christmas Eve. In other words, the perfect storm for last-minute shoppers. I talked to people today about what they're doing to cross the last few things off their Christmas list. Waiting until now to go holiday shopping might make it tough to find anything.
Last minute gift.
Just some odds and ends, stocking stuffers.
Maybe even something I want.
We'll find all things I need, hopefully.
Finding a good Christmas present now might take a little bit of luck, but finding a parking spot near the door would almost take a Christmas miracle.
Many people out, everything's crowded.
You know, I guess you could expect that with the 23rd landing on a Saturday, so.
Some shoppers were more relaxed than others.
I'm not under pressure, so I just go out and enjoy watching people. And
there's a lot of people in there, like, they were just standing around like, I don't know what to do.
And I saw people calling, other people going, well, what color should we get?
It's all done. Gifts are wrapped, just these last 3 gifts.
These shopping pros have some advice for their fellow procrastinators.
Just take a deep breath, calm, relax, and have fun.
Get a gift receipt, and so they can always exchange it, or a gift card.
Whatever makes the holidays less hurried and more happy. And with that, Amber, I gotta tell you, these shoppers not only braved some pretty big crowds, but also some really bitter winds. The temperature wasn't too bad today, but the winds made it really hard to be outside shopping.